Hello, can everyone hear me? Can everyone see me? Why won't the chat work? You were working a second ago. I already reauthorized you. Source change. Are you doing it? Hello everyone, how's everybody doing? Okay, I think that did it. It did not. It didn't do it. Oh, there it goes. Hello. Hello, Paul, Iris, Jean, Lobsel, Nick, Flame King, Willis, Capcant, Marspan, Yavi. Hello. Oh, it's quiet. Hello, Akatsuki. Let's see if This is a new setup, so it's a work in progress. Once again, I've moved everything because I had to put it all in my bedroom where I can close a door. Because I wanted to be able to hang out more with the new oh no, is my Twitter hacked again? God damn it, Bezos. Alright, so we're gonna take a minute to unhack my shit, apparently. Is that what's happened? Let's see if I'm hacked again. God damn it. Okay. Alright, we're gonna deal with that real quick. We're gonna go and just give me 1 second. Since Jeff Bezos made it so that you can no longer use two-factor or whatever fuck, it's really easy to hack. And I've now been hacked twice. I don't know what they're hoping to get out of it. Where did I make my password? I'm gonna say I just forgot it. This is a fun stream. Have you ever had a Twitter hacking email stream? Luckily, I made my account a little bit harder to steal from last time because I updated all my backup info. Yeah, you have to use my phone, you bitch. Anyway, I have a new cat by accident. I didn't go out to get a cat. For those of you who don't know, I have... Mouse fell. Mic, whatever. I had 4. Now I have 5 because my niece was here and we were hanging out and a stray cat ran up to us and just started meowing her head off and she looked rough. My heart. I'd seen her before around, but I kind of thought she was feral. And, she wasn't coming near people and all that jazz. So, I wasn't, trying to do anything. But when she came up and was like, hey, hello, okay, this cat is not feral and is need of some attention. So I brought her inside. I got the vet to her. She is hearing me and I think she's going to come say hi. Oh no, she's going to go get food. And, got her checked out. She was 4 pounds when we found her. And, I just changed my password and Twitter said I should enroll in two-factor authentication. I'd love to, Elon Musk. Thanks, douchebag. Anyway, so I brought Kitty in and, she's going potty, which she's done. I don't know, you just guys, she's just walking. She's just going around her territory. She's now a lot better in terms of weight. She has definitely got some weight on her now. Not as much as I'd like. Come here, Kiki. Oh, she's very chatty. I don't know if you can hear her. Meow. Come here, baby. Hello, baby. I know, you don't like be picked up. I know. Meow. Yeah, still getting used to being picked up, but she's very sweet and friendly. Let's see if I can get the... I need to get her up a little higher. She's just a little short. There we are. My light bulb in my ceiling fan died right before I started streaming, so... Hey, baby. She doesn't have a name yet, because 1, I couldn't think of one, and 2, I was afraid of getting attached. But it's too late now. I'm very attached. She's so friendly. You really don't like being held. I don't know what that is, because otherwise you're, like, all over me all the time. I think it's got to be from bringing you in and dealing with the vet. She did not like the vet. It cost $300 to make sure she had all her proper tests and vaccines and everything. She has a problem in her mouth. We're hoping it's probably an inflamed tooth. It can happen like you're on the street and you're eating and crap gets stuck, it gets inflamed. So she's on antibiotics, which should be over soon. She's eating, which is a good sign, because if they have some problem in their mouth and they stop eating, that can be very bad. But she is hungry. She eats all the time, and she sheds horribly, probably from stress, the vet says. But she's recovering. I'm really hoping that this is going to be the end of the medical bills, but I don't know. I worry about that tooth. You know, we'll see. If it doesn't bother her anymore and she keeps eating, then I guess we'll leave it be. But we have a good vet that comes and checks out our animals, so I'll let her know who here hasn't eaten out of the garbage. It is a she kitty. She's very, very sweet. She does. She's so loud. Once she knows I'm around, she needs attention. She goes, meow, meow. She's kind of met the other cats. They've come to the door and sniffed, and then I opened the door once just to see what would happen, and they just looked at each other very intensely, so I closed the door again. Everybody's okay. The other cats live out of my bedroom, and this kitty lives in my bedroom and seems a-okay with it right now. I'm gonna move that so we can look at Kiki. She loves looking outside. Like, that was my domain. My domain. If it weren't so unsafe, like, this is just not a good neighborhood for one. Keep your cats indoors. Oh, that's now very, very... Like I said, I just set this stream setup up today, so quite a bit of a mess. Cats are better off inside, especially I feel like in the United States where cars rule everything. Everything's a mile away from each other, so you have cats that are like living on the highway, and it's terrible. If it were like a small city, like, you know, or a townhouse area, it would be kind of different, but it's just not safe if you can keep them inside. And I think she has basically adjusted to being inside. I don't think she misses it too much. She just doesn't like being alone. She doesn't want out of the bedroom. Well, right now, you have to keep cats separate. One, they don't always adjust to new cats very well. Two, when we first got her, she had to get a rabies vaccine, and that takes a little while to kick in. Test her for leukemia, because she can spread diseases to other cats. And the infection in her mouth, if that's, you know, can pass. So basically, until we were sure she was healthy and they adjusted to each other, we have to keep them separate. And the easiest way to do that was keep her in my bedroom, which she really does not seem to mind as long as I'm here. She can chill out for a few hours, but then if I'm like downstairs working for a while, you know, a couple hours will pass and then I'll hear meow, meow, and then I'm like, okay, I'm being summoned. It's time to see Kitty. She's just being so regal. Let's see if I can just scoot this. Regal Kitty. She really needs a name, and I don't know, I'm loath to name her, because I know it's crazy to have 5 cats. It runs in my family. My uncle is Snake Uncle, we call him, because growing up he worked for the Georgia Aquarium, and his house was full of snakes and turtles and reptiles and tortoises and everything. Our family, and then his wife had 2 Persian cats that they breed and they have babies, and so my cousin that is the kid of those 2 has 2 turtles and I think 3 cats and a dog. So it just runs in our family, but I don't know, we'll see. I don't know how adoptable she is, because it's really rough right now in the US for adopting. Oh wow, you had 9 cats. Nice. I love cats. I would have as many as possible, but I know Mom is not as much of she's an animal person, but in a normal way. Like 2 cats and a dog even would have been fine. But, she's, the vet's not sure about her age. Like, at first she thought she might even be like a senior cat because of her behavior. Since she started to heal, she's become more playful, and so she might be younger. But she's definitely not a kitten, and it's hard to get any animals adopted right now that are not kitten. Call her Mewkins or something. I don't know what to call her. I've always gone with a theme. Like, Pippin and Gandalf I got while I was in college working on my thesis, so I was writing about the Lord of the Rings all the time, so that was on my brain. And then Bob came along. I named Bob Orion, which is Optimus Prime's real name, because I was in a big Transformers kick at the time, and the movie'd come out where, like, the one where Optimus Prime's all beat up and banged up, and we found Bob on the side of the road, like, all beat up. I was like, it's perfect, and nobody else in my family wanted to name the cat Orion, so my niece named her Bob. In my heart, it's Bobtimus Prime. And then Batman and Alfred came along, and I knew at that point it was a birthday present for me to get a cat, and I was like, it'd be so funny to have a black and white cat named Batman. That's what I want. So we went looking for one, and we found a kitten that fit the bill, but it had it had a sibling, and my mom was actually the one that went, you can't separate them, and that's how we came home with 2 kittens instead of 1, and ended up with 4 cats. Funny story, I'm only to blame for, like, one of the animals in this house until this. Well, Batman. I wanted Batman. So Alfred was Mom's fault. Bob, my brother, found. Pippin, my brother, found. Lola was my mom's fault. Gandalf is the only cat that I sought out. Oh, you have a new cat too? Sweet. Oh, Pudgy. That's a cute name. I named Pidgey in Pokemon. I think I named it Pudge or Pudgy or something. Name it Henry. I named my cat Coco. Aw. I need to think of what I would call you. I don't know. At this point, it's not certain if we'll keep her or not. I'd love to, but I also understand why that's a silly thing to do, and if we can find her a home, that would be good. I'm not giving her to a pound or a donation place, because she's the kind of cat that would just sit there forever. If we can find a family that wants her, that's one thing. My brother thinks he might know some folks that would want her. But for now, we're going to cure her infection and then work on it from there. Look at her. She's just chilling in the window. See if I can... There we go. Chilling in the window. Have you ever thought about dogs as pets? Yeah, we have a dog. Lola just doesn't show up in videos much because she lives downstairs, and my streaming setup tends to be upstairs. She stays downstairs with Mom. That's my mom's dog. He's Mom's dog. Hi, Kiki. What do you want your name to be, Kiki? She's funny. She likes to, like, knead a lot, and if you pet her and then you stop, she'll sometimes have her paw up, like, in the air, like she was kneading. Like, hey, you stopped, and kind of, hey, come pet me. Yeah, you forgot I had a... It's easy to forget about Lola, because she doesn't show up in streams much. Unless you hear her barking at the front door. Happy kitty, happy... Yeah, see the foot? Do you see the foot? She does that. You're pawing in the air. It would be hard to give her up because she's just very sweet, very friendly. Not every cat that you just like rescue from the street immediately warms up to people, but this one has very much warmed up to people, like right away. I mean, she literally just ran at my niece. My mom knocked on the front door and said, "Come look at this," and the cat was just sitting there. And I knew right away, I was like, this cat looks too rough to let go. And the vet did say she probably would have died because she was starving. This isn't a good area for cats. Like, we're out in the country, which you'd think, but it just means there's not a lot of trash or leftover food or garbage outside. So there's not a lot to, like, dig in. And all the wild animals are, like, deer and rabbits, which I don't know. Clearly she wasn't having any luck. So, thankfully we found her because she wasn't having a good time. I think somebody dumped her because we didn't see her until like a month ago. And like I said, this isn't an area you see feral or wild cats in. Like, I've been in areas where just like you just see a cat. Like, cats just live there and chill out. This is a place where you look out your backyard and you see deer, like not cats. So that was a big surprise. I thought she belonged to somebody the first time I saw her. I was like, oh, somebody in the neighborhood has a cat. And when I saw her up close, I was like, no one has been taking care of this animal. It is, you could feel her ribs. Like I said, 4 pounds. Yikes. It was scary. It was scary. You can still see, like, she's still kind of drooling a little. Her mouth's a little messed up. But she's doing a lot better. I'm hoping she's going to be okay. I mean, worst scenario, if she is an elderly cat or a very sick cat or what have you, she's in a place where she can be happy for however long she will be, That's what, because Mom pointed that out, was like, what if it's much worse than it looks? It's like, then at least she's comfortable. But we've dealt with sick animals before. She's now going over looking for her food. I've had to sneak her antibiotics into her food because she will not let you get anywhere near her mouth. You named him Sweet Boy. That's so sweet. Well, the other update, since we're talking about sick and ill and what have you, was me. This is the longest time I've been off YouTube since I started doing YouTube professionally. Yeah, because there was one year that we went out of town for Christmas for a whole month, but that was just, this has been almost 2 months, almost, like, God, and it hit me out of nowhere, because I was doing so much better. For those who don't know, I have hypothyroidism, which basically means the organ, I guess that's the word, in your throat that controls a lot of your hormones doesn't work properly, and that leads to many complications. Mine had led to some really bad complications, which have since gotten much better. I am no longer anemic, as far as I can tell. I still take the gland, thank you, that's the word. I still take iron because it's probably a good thing to keep doing, and when they first tested me, I was like 5%, 15 something iron. Now I'm 27, which is good. I'm on a couple of different hormone medications that are helping. The problem is thyroid it's a delicate flower. The thyroid is a unique individual snowflake that works differently for every human. And the amount of medication you have to take to make it work can easily go over. So hypothyroid means you have too little thyroid hormone, what have you, in your blood. Hyper means you have too much. And then you start getting a whole new set of problems that I didn't recognize for a long time because they involve depression and anxiety, which I already deal with. So I was just like, why am I having this weird episode out of nowhere? I've been fine for years. Why am I sad? Why am I anxious? Why am I crying in this Wendy's? Like, it was really a weird 4 weeks where I just felt like I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to go anywhere. I was crying all the time. Like, God, it was so bad. And then my throat swelled. And I was like, wait a minute. When you have way too much high thyroid hormone in your throat, the organ will swell up and it feels like a golf ball in your throat. And it suddenly hit me. Two of the biggest symptoms of having too much are hyperthyroid. Since it controls your hormones, that controls your mood and controls your feelings. And so it throws all of that out of balance. So I wasn't having my old anxiety and depression. It was a new anxiety and depression from my thyroid being over-medicated instead of under-medicated. New problem. So they did all these blood tests and came back and said, well, all this stuff's fine. And I said, Doc, this is, he's not an endocrinologist, which is what deals with thyroid. And at this point, I think my situation is so delicate. He referred me to see one because I was like, bro, these are all the signs of hyperthyroid. I know the blood test doesn't show anything, but that's because blood tests ain't gonna show everything. Now, it can happen. I think it's very hard with diseases that can influence your brain to wonder, like, am I just anxious because I have anxiety, or is this some other kind of thing? It can be tough, and I don't know how. I think for me, it came from realizing and thinking about how the things that were making me anxious were things that hadn't made me anxious for years. Like, things that hadn't bothered me since college, like dealing with family or going to the grocery. Like, I hadn't been anxious about those things for so long, so in my head it stood out as, why is this coming back now? Like, there was no trigger, nothing had happened. I was crying about, like, being overwhelmed and being stressed and not feeling like I was doing enough work, but not having the energy to do the work, and then thinking, 2 months ago when I was sick and couldn't do the work, I didn't care, like, I was fine. Why is it, you kind of have to pay attention, I guess, to the nuances of your brain, which can be tough. It takes a lot of self-reflection, which, when you got to kind of pay attention to what you're feeling and why you're feeling it to kind of figure out when and where, and pay attention to your throat. If you ever feel like you have a golf ball in your throat, but you can breathe and you can swallow, or swallowing hurts, it doesn't hurt to check out your thyroid, because one of the symptoms that first pops up for thyroid problems is you start having problems swallowing because it's impeding your esophagus. Mine is still a little swollen, I think, but it takes a couple weeks for the meds to even out, and I've stopped taking them. He told me not to, but when I started them back up again, I broke into the cold sweats and cried. So I'm like, no, this man doesn't know enough. I'm gonna go see that guy, see the endocrinologist. Another thing it does, fucking midlife crisis kind of, what do you call it? Menopause. All those symptoms of, like, you're having hot flashes and stuff. they tested my hormones and estrogens and stuff to figure out if I was having menopause in my 30s, because it does all that too. It's the same thing. So long story short, I'm doing so much better, and I was really on the way to recovery until a new weird thing happened I wasn't prepared for, and that kind of threw me off mentally. Physically great, mentally I wasn't doing well. But now that I have figured out why, and I stopped taking the medication that was making me very ill, I'm doing a lot better. And I will be going to see an endocrinologist soon. They said they'd call me, so hoping to get an appointment there. And at that point, I think it's basically just going to be them, you know, a guy that has more experience with the disease looking at my blood tests to figure out the nuances. Because with thyroid, there's like 4 different things you have to pay attention to. It's like your TSH, your T4, your T3, and some other thing. And all of them factor into how it works and what medication you need and how much. So I guess he's just gonna, you know, take a closer look and figure out what, and my idea is just, let's just cut the pill in half and see what happens. Just take half. But since he is gonna see me soon, if it's in the next week or so, then I'll just wait and see him. If it takes longer than that, because sometimes specialists do, I probably will just start splitting the pill and see what happens, because it's weird. As much as the disease can be very dangerous and bad for you, it's dangerous in a very long-term kind of way. So you can kind of experiment with the medication a little and not worry that like next month I'll have a heart attack and die. It would be like 10 years from now I would be very sick. So yeah, that kind of thing. Thyroids are the pain of humanity. When it doesn't work, that's for sure. And unfortunately, I think because there is a kind of easy cure for it, they're not really researching it. Like, you can make fake hormone, so why try and solve the problem when you can just medicate it? And I would really love if they would figure out the problem so that I don't have, like, just make me a robothyroid. I would love that. Anyway, so gonna talk to an endocrinologist and figure that out. I am doing so much better. Like, I've been talking for how long, and I've not even had to, like, stop and breathe, you know? So that's something. Doing more exercise, doing better there. So mostly it's just been getting the brain back on, and now I think we're doing better. I don't know project-wise what I'm going to be doing. I do have a couple things that I've been working on and just haven't had the time to, like, finish because my brain exploded. But I wanted to do a video for Folklore in March, but now I don't know if I'm going to have time to finish it on time. So I may not be able to do that, which is sad. But we're at least going to start streaming this week. I want to do some more movie streams. In particular, I want to do, like, gay shit because the world has been, like, on fire. And I want to use my platform to platform good, fun things. So I want to make stuff for that, and I think that'll be fun. Still do video game stuff too, but I think that's going to be like larger projects, like, you know, every 2 to 3 weeks I'll put out a big documentary, and then in the middle do little gay things like watching movies and reading books, and I think that'll be fun. Yes, we are going to play Fatal Frame 4. I figured at this point it's been so long since 5 came out, I'd wait to do 5 after 4, so whenever 4 comes out, we'll stream 4, then 5. Somebody asked, I missed it. Somebody say, something about jobs. What were my jobs? We've talked about my jobs vaguely, right? I know I've mentioned a couple of them. I'm kind of curious what y'all, who remembers what my jobs were? Anybody know what of the jobs that I have had? Remember any of them? You look like you've lost some weight. Yeah, I'm in the 180s for the first time in like 6 years. Fucking 6 years. When I first started having thyroid problems and getting like really into serious stuff with it, I worked at the mattress store. Woo woo. Yeah, mattress store. It was a 10-hour job, 10-hour a day job, and I was behind a desk all day. So I was having a lot of problems and gained 80 pounds. Because thyroid, one of the issues with your thyroid, it makes you gain weight really badly, and then you can't lose it because your body, when you have hypothyroid, your body is really slow, and it's the chemicals are very slow. So the chemicals that break down food go very, very slow, and when it does that, it makes you cold, because that's what makes you warm, is like the thing breaking stuff down creates energy and it makes you warm. So you're cold and tired all the time because your body's very slow and it can't get rid of the fat. So I gained 80 pounds. I started trying to turn it around and get healthier, and I lost 30, and then I got stuck at like 195 somewhere. So finally getting past that breaking point is very happy for me. Like, weights, whatever, you know, but for me, I think it definitely hurt my thyroid, like, having the thyroid and the tiredness already, and then adding a bunch of weight on that makes you even more tired, like, it just did not help. So, I'm hoping to at least get to, like, 175. I'll never be what I was in college, but, you know. Yes, mattress store, Target. Those are the two that people seem to remember. Probably because I've told the most stories from those two. So my first job was a summer job at a pizza place down the street from my house. I was technically a waitress, but I mean, you kind of did everything. You helped make the pizzas, you helped, you know, everything except for like dishes and delivery. It was really shitty because the guy that owned the place, was a madman with a temper who once picked the register up bodily and tossed it on the floor in anger because me, the new register person that had worked there for a month, forgot to charge an extra 25 cents for a double pepperoni. And that was worth throwing the register on the ground. So after 2 months, I talked to my mom and dad about how this man was scaring me, and I left that job. I think I was like 19. I don't know, it was first job. It was very short. After that, I worked at my local library. That was also down the street. That was a 6-month job. I actually really enjoyed that. I basically had weekends, I'd go shelve books. I really, really loved it. I ended up quitting because that's when my dad got sick and I, you know, spend time with family. So I actually, that's the one job that I left for good reasons that I would actually return to. I like that one. After that was Toys R Us, right out of college because of emergency. I had to move and I had to have a job and I needed to pay rent. So I just Toys R Us and I worked there for 2 months. And I mean, it was a job, you know, nothing like the terrible pizza guy job, but just any kind of retail is going to suck the soul out of you. But I did enjoy I had more freedom there because I worked in the back. I was in the back room. So I got to listen to music. I was there at 4 a.m. because I was part of the truck unloading crew. So my job was like 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. unloading the trucks and then putting things out on the shelf. And it was toys. I love toys. I love Pokemon. Love all that shit. It was fun seeing the kids and stuff. It wasn't fun cleaning up pee, but luckily I didn't have to do that part. I left it for a better option. I needed more hours. They weren't going to hire me full time. And that's when I went to Mattress Firm because they would hire you full time. And that was the killer. It was the most money I ever would make. YouTube might have surpassed it now, maybe. Mattress Firm probably still has it beat solely because they had you working 80-hour weeks. And at that point, you're going to make a bajillion dollars. So Mattress Firm was next. And I started... I guess just salesperson, which meant every day you'd drive around to a different store and you'd work there for 10 hours, you'd open the store and you'd sell mattresses and you'd get commission on mattresses, but nobody fucking made commission because nobody was selling these damn mattresses. And eventually I convinced them to give me ownership of a store because that meant I wouldn't have to drive around and go to a different store every day. It was basically laziness. But I got to put store manager on my on my CV, which is crazy because I didn't manage shit. There was nothing to manage. It was just an empty big room of mattresses. I mean, I accepted deliveries and I put out the show floor. I did shit, but it's not the same as, like, managing people. I wasn't dealing with customers or with people. Like, it's stupid. After a year, I got a warning that I wasn't selling enough to meet my quota, so if I didn't change my ways in a month, I was going to be fired. They probably wouldn't have fired me. It was probably just them trying to, like, spook me into selling more mattresses, but it was impossible to sell mattresses because... Mattress Firm. Anyway, so when the month was up, I just ditched. I just walked. And then that's when I got hired by the AKC. Damn, I've had more jobs than I thought. The American Kennel Club, I worked in their mail room, and that was a 3-month job where basically, you know, organizing mail, sorting mail. That place gets more fucking mail. It's dogs. I don't get it. And it basically, the woman in charge was really, really maniacally controlling to the point that that place had a reputation for losing and changing employees like every 2 months. Like, literally, some of the guys I worked with, like, they worked in a different department. They were like, man, you're still here. Wow. And in 3 months, I left because she was nuts and it was stupid. And at that point, my cousins that I lived with, my cousin and her husband had gotten pregnant, and, you know, life-changing and stuff, and they had been, you know, planning on having the, like, doing crazy things, like they moved their bedroom to the 3rd floor of our townhouse, so the baby's room would be on the 2nd floor, so I wouldn't have to, I was like, this is nuts, I'm gonna move out. And my only option was my mom, so I was like, Mom, you know, I don't have a job anymore, I left the AKC, I'm moving out of my cousin's house because they need, you know, can I move in with you? And she is a widow, you know, not living with anyone at the time because my brother had moved out 2 years before, and she's a people person anyway. Most of her life she's lived with some or all of her kids. So she was like, yes, please come home. And that's when I started looking for new jobs. And in the meanwhile, I got kind of back into doing YouTube. That would have been 2018. And YouTube just started doing pretty well, and it was doing better than I was getting paid at Target. Did I skip Target? I worked at Target for 6 months. I skipped Target. Pizza, library, Toys R Us, Mattress Firm, Target, and then the AKC. I was at Target for 6 months and AKC. So those jobs. And so then I moved back in with Mom, was looking for a new place, and just happened to YouTube take off. And when I say take off, I mean, it is now, well, back then, so like 2-3 years ago, it was comparable to working at Target. Like, you know, I wasn't having to spend money on gas, to spend money on tons of groceries or a uniform and work myself to death, but I was still making generally minimum wage money and paying my bills. I couldn't afford to move out, but I couldn't do that when I was working at Mattress Firm either. So I was like, hey, I might as well keep doing this because it actually has upward potential. It has potential momentum upward that working at Target for 10 years would not have. I mean, I had a friend that worked at Harris Teeter for like 10 years and was in the frozen section the entire time. No, like, you don't have any upward mobility. Like, there's no point. And I would tell people that in my family, like, yeah, I'm working minimum wage on a computer, but it has upward mobility that nothing fucking has elsewhere. And they don't get it because back, 40 years ago, you could actually get somewhere in a job, But now it's actually, I have money somewhat. Like, I was kind of amazed that I'm getting sponsorships, which has been nice. It's been like gravy money I haven't been expecting. And I hope that continues. I'd like to eventually be secure enough that I don't have to be paid money by corporations, but if they're gonna, I'll do it, I wish that some horror stuff would come. I'd love to advertise a horror movie or something. That would be great. I wish that would happen one day. Horror book. Well, we did have some like indie authors on the channel. I think 2 different indie people have done that, so that was cool. Let me see here. Somebody asked about selling mattresses. I discovered your channel from Shadow of Destiny. Great. Thank you. I'm really sad that video didn't do very well because I started the video out with the word death in the title, and I should have known that was a no-no, and so YouTube tanked the views. And then the guy claimed like 30 seconds of a video of the city of Strasbourg, and I told him, I was like, listen, it's transformative work. It was 30 seconds. Can you not steal my income? And he did steal it, so I don't know. Eventually maybe I'll redo or update that video so it's not such a burr on my side. I hate that happened, but I love that game. So, glad YouTube pays you so well now. It's kind of wild, like, I'm very shocked, and I'm very, very lucky for a lot of reasons, because I don't know that YouTube would be as easy to break into now as it was so long ago. I also kind of feel like I found a niche that just kind of works for me, and I've figured out some of the ways to make it work. Like there's some like language, there's tricks of the trade that I feel like I finally figured YouTube out. Now if I could just get my health in order and work on YouTube, be great. But I think we're getting there. Like, I'm talking today and I'm actually not out of breath, so that's amazing. Apparently, oh, did they backtrack the penalizing swears? See, I haven't sworn in any of my essays. One, it probably wouldn't really fit that much, but like, I just don't, because I know they hate that shit. Sorry, Kitty just ran around the room. She's got energies. She has the energies. It's cute. Sometimes she'll like chase her own tail and play with like things. I've got a bunch of toys out, and she's actually playing with the toys, whereas the other cats like to play with garbage. She is. She's doing laps around the room. Oh my god. Oh. I've not played the Dead Space remake. I don't know. I am so open-minded to remakes and stuff, but the Dead Space one really does sit in my craw. I really want to make a video about the making of those games. They shat all over Dead Space. I know Silent Hill didn't go well with Konami, but at least Konami as a company kind of kept trying to make it, and just the company is stupid and shit and run by idiots, so it just never panned out. Whereas EA literally, like, chopped up, blocked up, sold, and gutted Dead Space and the people that made it. And then, like, 20 years later, we're like, huh, people like horror video games and nostalgia. We should make money off of that corpse that we murdered. Huh. So it just doesn't sit right with me. I can't bring myself to play it yet. I want to replay the original. I'm glad it's still actually being, like, sold digitally. So we are going to do that at some point. I'm not, no hate if you do play it. Like, it looks fun and great and stuff. I just don't, if I can get it used, because I'm also, like, I don't buy shit new. It's part of how I survive. I buy everything secondhand. Today was my thrift store day. I got a computer monitor that actually, it rotates. Here, let me, this is my, oh shit. I unplugged it, I think. Oh well. I gotta adjust this setup. I got it at Goodwill for $12, and it's one of those fancy monitors that turns this, like, it can be long or this way, which is so cool. I've always wanted those. I'm so excited. I found a bunch of books. Of course, you know me. What else did I get? I think I got a pair of boots. Hi, Kiki. I was looking for furniture and stuff for you, too, but I didn't see anything. I did not. But yeah, video games are fucking expensive. Books, too. I remember when you could walk in Barnes & Noble with a $10 bill and buy a new paperback. And now I look at every single book and it's like a classic, a printing of a book from 200 years ago, and it's $18 paperback. Like, oh my god. Books are expensive new nowadays. It sucks. But I did buy this. Oops. Hello? Can you still see me? My monitor turned off. Hello? Okay, it's coming back. I bought Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation. The new manga, or manhwa, came out. If you don't know, this is a version, the comic version of the book, which is now officially released in English. So excited. It is... It was hard to find. I went around looking for it, and I was like, it's not with Modao Zushi. It's not with the Grandmaster. Like, and so I was going to go ask the lady, and then I was like, wait. I looked. It's in the G section. This version's not called the Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation. It's just Grandmaster. So I was in the wrong section. So I buy my Chinese gay shit new. Everything else I wait until I can find it at my local bookstores. I was pleasantly surprised the Resident Evil 4 remake's only $57, considering, yeah, they're going up to $70, which is insane. Oh, God, I can't. No. I don't buy games new anymore, unless it's like a series that I die hard, like, no, I will be addicted to. Even then, I didn't buy Fire Emblem, whatchamacallit, the new one, because I'm not gonna play it. There's always the chance that I'm just not gonna play it right away because of my attention. I'll just get distracted. And then it's like, I spent $70 for something to sit on my shelf and do nothing for 3 years? I can't do that. So, I do a lot of digital nowadays because they do digital sales all the time. And they do a lot cheaper than most places. Like, physical games are never gonna go on sale as much, you know. Trying to get a good light on Kitty. It's getting so dark. We have very dramatic film lighting in here. My overhead light bulb died right when I was gonna start streaming. Oh man. It's not even good to buy game. Yeah, because a lot of games are shipped out unfinished, or they need fixes and things. There are good cheap indie games out there. That is true. New indie tends to be far better off than new mainstream. What am I playing right now? Don't think I am. Oh, the last thing I played was Shin Megami Tensei 5, which I love. So good. God, like, I really want to deep dive into it, but that would require so many hours and work and research that I need to do. I'm tempted to do it anyway, but God, I love that game. So good. I think it's my new favorite SMT. I tried to go back and play some of the other ones too, and I've found myself, SMT5 is the perfect gameplay, story, world, like, everything I love into it all at once. I like, so intense. I don't know how to make, if I do that, it's like I'm in shadow. And then, this is not good. I just have to be like that, I guess. I need to figure out and fix this new setup because it's a little messy. What's a good comfort video game? Final Fantasy X's probably one. I'm obsessed with that game. They're doing a kabuki stage play of it right now in Japan, and I want to see it. Oh, I really hope they record it and they put it online. I'm half afraid they're not gonna, but they've gotta. I really want to see it. I think he'd like Disco Elysium. I don't know, I bounce off of really text-heavy games. I've heard so many times that I would like it, but every time I like watch gameplay of it, I'm like, no. Like, I just don't know that I would. No, I've not played the new Fire Emblem. I know. I need to. I've watched a lot of clips from it because it looks super cute, but I go through phases where I don't play video games for a long time, which I really don't think I have since Shin Megami Tensei was probably like 2 months ago. I spend most of my time reading. I'm very, I don't know. I read a lot. I finished in the last couple days. Let's see. Okay. So today I finished Ruby Fruit Jungle by Rita Mae Brown. Very, very good, classic coming-of-age story of a woman. I would hesitate to call her lesbian because she doesn't call herself that, but it's like a sapphic coming-of-age. Very famous for its time for being one of the few to deal with those themes. It's from 1973, and it deals with, like, poverty and basically an American Southerner growing up and figuring out her identity and trying to make it in a world that's real shitty because it's the American South in the 70s. But it's really, really good. And then I read Reverie a couple days ago, which is like a YA novel. It's basically kind of like it's a Sailor Moon kind of story, like friends that are going to school together and they have powers and they find each other and they solve problems, except it's kind of seen from reverse because the main character has amnesia and doesn't remember all the Sailor Moon shit and has to kind of figure out, you know, the remember all the shit and figure out, you know, what's going on, why are these people doing stuff and they have powers, and it was an interesting twist. I'm not a huge fan of YA because I like deeper, weirder, darker shit, but the concept was really interesting, so I had to check it out, and the author's pretty good, has written some other things I really like. The House of Impossible Beauties. Heartbreaking. It's about New York City in the 1980s during the AIDS crisis, and specifically, it deals with, like, the drag queen ballroom circles and, some real people. Like, it's fictionalized, but it deals with some of the real history of some of the people that were there. The House of Extravaganza. If you've ever seen Paris is Burning, it's the same people. And it's heart-wrenching. God, it breaks your damn heart. But it's so real and so good. And it deals basically with, I think 3 out of 4 of the characters are trans women. And then the last one's a gay man, and they're all, like, involved in dealing with each other, and just, it's gonna break your heart. So good. Legends and Lattes, which is like D&D, except the main character is an orc who's decided she's tired of fighting and doing things and wants to open a coffee shop instead, and it was super cute. And cute in a, like, I bounce off of things that are too fluffy or wholesome, which is why I often don't like YA, because it's a little too soft. And this one managed to balance it with kind of like dealing with the fact that she used to have a life that was far less wholesome, and she's trying to avoid going back to it, and the struggle to escape it. so that she can live the more wholesome life she wants to live. And I really liked that. And I like orcs. I like orc characters. The Priory of the Orange Tree is fantastic. Might be some of the best, like, fantasy I've read in a long time. It's a honker. It's huge. I read it in one day because I couldn't put it down. It has, I mean, all kinds of plot twists and politics and mechanics and fantasy and magic and shit. And also, like, half the cast is queer. The main the main two women, like the queen and her bodyguard, who's secretly from another culture, infiltrating to protect her for other political reasons, but ends up falling in love with the queen anyway. It is fucking fantastic. It's really good. I think there's a sequel now, but I haven't checked it out. I gotta look at it. It's so good. I think of all of these, it's my favorite, but I'm a big fan of fantasy anyway. So, I mean, God, a single day could not put it down. It's 800 pages. So yeah, all I did for a single day, I was like, well, I guess I'm getting nothing done today. Just sitting in this chair. Yeah, it is a thick book. I've put off buying it for years because I'd heard about it and I vaguely knew it was gay fantasy. And I just found out about Paris is Burning because one of the people in it was a suspect in a murder. You mean the actor or the character? Oof. That's sad. Ugh. But yes, this is a very thick book. I put off reading it for a long time because I knew it was so thick. I was like, God, I don't need another thick book. But I found it at Walmart for really cheap. I was like, shit, if it's going to be... clearly this is a sign, so I should buy it, and I did. Anyway, so that's what I do when I'm done for the day. I just lay down and I read too much shit. So that's a lot of shit. All I do is read. I'm really addicted. What's the name of that one again? Okay, I'll show each one again. Just The House of Impossible Beauties, Legends and Lattes, Reverie, Ruby Fruit Jungle, and The Priory of the Orange Tree. They are all gay, because that's the law in this house. But these two are the, like, real historical fiction, sad, real-life stuff. And then the rest is fantasy. I read mostly fantasy. You really do enjoy reading. Yeah, I'm like the opposite of most people. I have a harder time sitting down in front of a TV and watching TV. I don't know if it's... I just can't do it. I have to engage my eyes with words, or else I have a lot of trouble. But, yeah, I want to do more reading streams and movie streams and sharing, like, queer shit. The world is rough for queers right now, and I want to, like... bring the community to get our little community as we are, share stuff, spread the word about our stuff, about our history, make people, make them learn, make them listen, as much as I can on this little platform I have. But I will still continue doing video game, longer essays. Those will be strewn throughout. Most of the new stuff, what'll probably still be streamed here because I've unlocked all the super streaming bonuses, and will then move it to the book channel, which I need to go look and do all there's some stuff I think never made it to the book channel, so I'll have to look at that. Link should be in the description unless the streaming service lost those again, in which case check another video. It's in the links somewhere. Yes, I am one of the LGBT and the Q. At different points in my life, I think I considered myself all the spaghetti, but yes, I am. I just go with queer. It's fine. Do I read Stephen King? I have tried and mostly bounced off him. He's just not that intriguing to me. I don't find him that interesting. I think he's like horror light for the average person that doesn't really want to read too much horror. I do love Herman Hesse. I actually almost bought Damien today, and I had to put it back because I was spending too much money on books. But I did. I read Steppenwolf and Siddhartha in high school and fell in love. I haven't read them since. I need to go back and reread it, but I just remember I really loved it. I don't have any of his stuff anymore, I don't think. I think I had Beneath the Wheel at some point. Books come and books go. I haven't read it in a long time, but I'll have to get around to it eventually. But yeah, that's basically the update. Kuntz, I have read some Kuntz. I've read Watcher, I think. It was good. I was honest, this is so silly, but this just shows, like, I was really deeply into it. It's a story about time travel and the World War and these Nazis that are trying to undo Nazis losing the war, and this guy who's fighting them, and he's saving this one woman's life, and you kind of don't know why, and you're like trying to figure out how it's all connected to World War II and what he's doing and why he's, and then it all turns out that he did all this because he loves her. And it's like, oh, okay. I mean, I guess, yeah. It's so like, come on. There was no bigger, interesting mystery to, why is he doing all, the book kind of hypes it up like, why is this happening, and what is his motivation? And it was all just, he wants to bone her this whole time. Come on. It's so pedestrian. Love. Okay. I thought this was some kind of weird fantasy sci-fi time travel novel, but now it's suddenly love conquers all, I guess. It was good. I finished it. I was disappointed there wasn't a more complex or interesting thing there, but again, it's diet fiction. It's fiction that's really accessible to the average person that's not gonna read deeply, or they just want to entertain themselves, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just I don't, now that I've read that one, I think I don't think I need more Kuntz. I don't think I'm that interested. Clive Barker, go for it. Yes, love is boring. Go away, love. Unless I'm there for the love story, and even then, I want the love story to be weird and creepy and deep as shit. Otherwise, it just, why? I don't know. If I just wanted a pedestrian love story, I'd go watch Hallmark, Anyway, yeah, read Clive Barker. Thank you, Cenobite. Speaking the truth. I've read almost all his books now. Funny enough, the one I haven't read is The Hellbound Heart. It's the one I don't have. And I saw the first 2 films, which are the good ones. Yeah, I guess we'll call it there, because otherwise I could just keep talking forever. Yes, I have read all of Junji. I own it. Here, let's... Ugh. There we go. That's my horror manga section. That's all of the Junji Ito that's been in English thus far. And then that's all my gothic and all my horror novels there. Various horror manga things. It's and there's my Devil May Cry incest poster. I literally had someone comment on that video today about a 2 long paragraphs that I didn't really get into, because it opened with, this was very, very interesting, and blah, 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 and then it got to, incest is a sin, is bad, and, what if people go in real life, and what are they gonna think if they see children? Okay, we're into that now. So, that's fun. Alright, we will call it there, because clearly this setup needs to be adjusted. There's much that needs fixed, but I am doing much better health-wise. I feel much more like myself. I think I seem it. If you've watched some of the previous streams in the last couple of months, I've definitely been far more ill and far less energized. We'll be streaming in here with Kitty Cat, who I think went to sleep. Oh, yeah, she's... Here, I show you before we go. She's at her spot. Hello, Kiki. She likes to sit by the door because she knows the other kitties are out there and she wants to come and see. She wants to have the friends. I think she's kind of she wants to chill with the other kitties, but other than Alfred did come into the room when I was kind of testing the waters and got about a foot from her, and she kind of went, just a little warning. Didn't puff up or get angry or anything, just chill. And the other night, Batman did the same thing. Just to see what would happen, I kind of opened the door, and just enough for them to see each other through the gap, and I put Batman down to see what happened, and Batman was about an inch from her face and went, just little tiny little hiss. I love that. When it's clear that they aren't angry, they aren't showing signs of aggression, and they just want to prove a point of I'm tough. Anyway, thanks for your patience and understanding all this time. Thanks for supporting the channel. If you like the channel and you want to support it, if you have extra right now, I just put $300 on Kiki, and I'm hoping we're not going to have to do more, but if I will, if I don't want her to get super sick if it's something we can fix. There's nothing you can do about cancer, but if it's an infected tooth, we can do something about that. So, if that becomes a thing, I will probably put a notice out and say, hey guys, see if we can help Kitty. But hopefully not. She seems to be doing a lot better. So hopefully the meds are going to fix that. Anyway, I will be getting back to doing more things on channel tomorrow. I'll let y'all know when. Presumably around the same time, because that seems to be the, time I can come up and chill and do stuff at the end of the day. But head over to the Discord if you want to keep up with all that shit. I would say Twitter, but that's on fire, so let's just not think about that. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.